Let anybody take your manhood. Be proud of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Look in your dictionary and see the synonyms of the word black. It's always something degrading and low and sinister. Look at the word white. It's always something pure, high, and clean. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
You know what that reminds me of, man?
Well, when Malcolm X said something similar to that?
Maybe we could look for that one, too.
Yeah.
You know what that reminds me of?
And then it reminds me also of James Brown singing Say It Loud.
But that doesn't remind me of that. That doesn't remind me of that. It reminds me of how the media decides to train your mind and to train your thinking to think a certain way. Most of us I have never heard this speech. What we get is, I have a dream. Mm-hmm. I have a dream that one day, right?
Yes.
But this is the real stuff.
Well, this must have been after I Have a Dream. What's the date on that? What's it say?
I don't know.
We need that date. And it must have been after Malcolm X was shot, because he wasn't preaching a self-love, but it's true that the freedom comes from inside of you. Mm-hmm. And to know that you're worthy and that your color is wonderful and it's exceptional but so many people don't think that way.
To me,
and that I think that it would be important if that speech were played over and over again to show.
Yeah.
Because we've been taught otherwise about ourselves.
As you say that, there was another article, and we want to get to your article. 7 ways white corporate America killed black radio.
We can pick that up. Because this article I have is on the same theme.
Let's talk.
Well, let me ask you. We're talking a lot about color. Do you see color when you walk in a room? Do you say, I'm the only black guy in this room?
Let me say this to you. Anyone who says they don't see color is lying.
So when someone says I'm colorblind and race
They're
doesn't
lying.
matter.
That's not true.
But do you think it...
No. Go ahead.
Well, look, don't start reading yet. Hold up. Talk to me.
No.
Do you think you don't think that it's possible for a person to be colorblind and say it doesn't matter?
No. I don't think it's possible.
Do you notice the color of people when you walk into a room? Are you like me, one of those black people that is often the only colored person in the room?
Most of the times, I'm like the only one in there.
Okay, now, do you notice that?
Of course.
When you see someone else black in the room, do you acknowledge them?
Yes.
Why?
Because you have some sort of synergy. People. I posted it on Facebook.
And if someone, okay, but tell me about the synergy. What's the synergy that you believe you have?
When you go to a meeting and there's 30 people in the room, right?
Is this your Wall Street experience, or were there other black people around?
Wall Street experience.
Okay, go ahead.
And one other person looked like you. Eventually, you make a beeline to that person.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa. It's not that you didn't see the other people, but you notice right away that there's only 2 of you in the room.
Well, why are you aware of your color? You're a man. Why are you aware of your color?
I'm not aware of my... I didn't look in the mirror when I went into the room and see what my color is.
You know what color you are.
I already know what color I am.
Right. But so you walk in like, God, I'm the only black person in this room.
Yeah, because that's what it happens so much that you're the only one. And sometimes you feel, oh my God, finally. Finally. There's someone that look like me. And you feel a relief that someone look like me. It doesn't matter whether it's a male or a female. It could even be a mixed race.
So you just got a little tint of color on you.
Oh, a tint, whatever it is.
Well, does that make you kind of racist in doing that?
No.
Why not?
And in addition to that, if you go up to that person and they have an accent, oh my God, and you hear culture, you hear a Caribbean accent, makes it even, oh my God. That's plain talk, bad manners. But you know what most people are going to say? Oh, I walk into the room, I don't see color. As a matter of fact, let me go to my Facebook page.
Well,
on that, it's on the article you sent. I'm giving to my Facebook page.
Okay. Now,
I posted it. Here's what. Do you see race? Hear what people says. I see two humans and they are pretty cute. Yeah.
Are you looking at that picture? It's a beautiful picture. That picture is so beautiful. I love that picture. And that little brown baby, I just want to.
But listen to this.
Go
I
ahead.
saw the pic before comment and thought beautiful babies. I'm obsessed with grandkids. I see two cuties. No, they are all so sweet. And I say, okay, yeah.
These are the comments to that? Do
Yeah.
you see race? Go
These are
ahead.
the comments.
To the picture.
That's what it is. I said this. Do you see race? What should I said? I should have said, what do you see? After I posted it, I said I should have put, what do you see? But you see, people are dishonest. They're dishonest.
Maybe they don't see color.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay, yeah. In your rose-colored glasses, you don't. In your rose-colored glasses, you don't. Let me ask you a question.
I was asking you questions. How did this get
Two
turned
individuals
back on me?
walking down the street, a white and a black person. All right? And they're walking on the same side of the street. And there is another white person walking on the left side of the street. Walking on the right side and a person on the left side. If that black person decides to want to go across the street to that other person over there on that other side of the street, what do you think is going to happen?
I don't know, but I guess you're trying to think that the white person would probably get up and move to the other side of the street to someone who looks like them.
You think they're not gonna see color, right? They're gonna see color. So people are talking about colorblind. Go ahead with the article. Go ahead.
All right. I found this article in The Guardian, scanning around yesterday. Monday, 26th of January. People love to tell me that they often forget I'm black. They say this with a sort of aha look on their faces, as if their dawning ability to see my blackness was a gift to us both.
But before you go, you should have read, race is such an ingrained social construct that even blind people can see it. Mm-hmm. To pretend it doesn't exist to you erases the experience of black people.
Yes.
That's very important.
Yes, it does. Yes, it is.
So.
Well, can I get the rest of the article? Because there's some other cool things.
But you
in there.
skipped that part.
I'm sorry. Yes, because
that part. I think that part is very important.
Okay, let's start all over. Race issues, comment is free. When you say you don't see race, you're ignoring racism and not helping solve it. This is from Zach Stafford. And that other quote that Anselm, which is an excerpt from the article, race is such an ingrained social construct that even blind people can see it. To pretend it doesn't exist to you erases the experiences of black people. Mm-hmm. People love to tell me that they often forget I'm black. They say this with a sort of aha look in their faces, as if their dawning ability to see my blackness was a gift to us both. When I point out their eyesight had never left them, that my skin has never changed colors, and that they probably did not really forget that I'm black, they inevitably get defensive. First, they try to argue that it was a compliment. The smart ones quickly realize that complimenting someone on not being black is actually pretty racist, so they switch gears. I don't see race is usually their next tactic, followed by I'm colorblind. though they never give credit to Stephen Colbert, by colorblind, quote unquote, they don't actually mean that they don't see green or red. Rather, they're suggesting they can't ever be racist because they don't register skin color at all. This ideology is very popular, like a racial utopic version of the Golden Rule, but it's actually quite racist. Colorblindness doesn't acknowledge the very real ways in which racism has existed and continues to exist, both in individuals and systemically. By professing not to see race, you're just ignoring racism, not solving it. Still, the idea of colorblindness is incredibly popular, especially with young people who believe racism is a problem for the older generation and will soon die out. According to a 2014 study done in partnership with MTV and David Binder Research, almost 3/4 of millennials believe that we should not see the color of someone's skin as though it's by choice. Nearly 70% believe that they have achieved this, and now they are actually colorblind. The same percentage shockingly believe that we make society better by not seeing race or ethnicity. But that ideology does present a very interesting question. If you were truly unable to see people's skin color, could you still be racist? Dr. Osagie Obasogie, a professor at the University of California's Hastings College of Law and author of Blinded by Sight, Seeing Race Through the Eyes of the Blind, wondered the same thing after seeing the biopic Ray about legendary blind musician Ray Charles. While watching the film, he found that Ray Charles seemed acutely aware of race, despite not having sight. He left the theater thinking about blindness and racism, and then spent 8 years. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this moved down. This is why. Okay, sorry. Then spent the next 8 years exploring it in his research. What he found is that even people who have never had sight still use a visual representation of people, including a person's perceived racial or ethnic identity, as a major marker for how they interact with them. In Obasogie's interviews, he found that blind people use non-visual cues to determine race when meeting a new person. They combine evidence from their other senses, hair texture, accent, and other markers, with varying degrees of reliability to create an understanding of someone's racial identity. And once a blind person figured out a new acquaintance's race, they would treat that person accordingly. In one interview, Obasogie told me a woman told her a story from childhood in which she walked in on her mother aggressively cleaning the kitchen. When she asked why, her mother responded that her black babysitter had been in the kitchen and black people had a smell which she needed to wash away. The next day, the woman remembers going to smell her babysitter, finding she did have a smell, and from then on always associated that smell with black people. Never despite having never noticed it before. Racism, both the personal kind and the systemic kind, isn't necessarily triggered by the visual cue of another person's skin color. Racism is about the social value we assign to people and their actions based on their physical attributes. And neither blind nor colorblind people avoid that acculturation just because they lack the visual cues. According to Obasogie, there's not much other research on the relationship of blindness and racism. But one important modern scholar has investigated the question. Dave Chappelle, his Blind Supremacy skit from 2003, a year before Ray premiered in the theaters, comes to the same conclusions as Obasogie's research. And here they have the Chappelle show. Have you seen this one?
Which one is that?
This is the one where Dave Chappelle grew up as a
blind white
blind kid, in an all white place, and they never told him that he was white.
Yeah.
They have a copy of the skit right here.
You want us to play that?
Well, let me read, and then you can play it afterwards.
Okay.
It's a lot of. It's not much left though. In this skit, Clayton Bigsby, played by Chappelle, is a blind man who is also a white supremacist because he has never been told that he was black. Bigsby makes a constant racist remarks in the sketch and even goes to a KKK meeting. Like most of Chappelle's sketches, this one skewers multiple targets. But one of the points it makes, and Obasoji